Be Flash Professional CS5 Classroom in a Book. Now today we're going to study about lesson 2, which is working with graphics. So in this lesson you learn how to do the following. You'll learn how to draw rectangles and ovals and other shapes, understand the difference between drawing modes, modify the shape, color and size of drawn objects, understand fill and stroke settings, make symmetrical and decorative patterns, create and edit curves, apply gradients and transparencies, group elements, and create and edit text. Okay, so let's just go on to our lesson here. Now, if you have the Classroom in a Book copy with you, you can follow this lesson. So let's go up and go to Launchpad. Let's open up Flash CS5. Now, in the meantime, I'm going to show you what we're going to do. So we're going to go on to lesson 2, and we're going to see the... Okay, we're going to open this one. And we're going to see what the end result is going to be. Okay, so this is what we're going to draw in Adobe Flash CS5. So just come over to Adobe Flash, then we're going to create a new action script file. Now you can always click on the action script 3.0 here, but we're going to do it this way and click new. Okay, and that set size to 700 by 200 pixels. So 700 by 200. And I'm going to make the color here light brown. Okay. And I'm going to click new. Okay. So this another one, we're going to save as. Okay. We're going to save it into the start folder. Lesson 2 start. And we're going to call it 02 working copy.fla. So make sure it's Flash CS 5.5 document. Okay, save it. Okay, so this is our banner here. Now we're going to work with strokes and fills here. And first of all, we're going to learn about how to use the merge drawing mode. So we're going to click on rectangle tool. Okay, then after that, okay, we're going to see a little bit about this tool here. Now notice here, this is called object drawing. We'll make sure that this is not selected. Make sure it's not selected. Okay, so over here we have the banner here. So let's go and choose our stroke color. So over here we're going to choose, okay, come here, choose stroke color of 663300, which is dark brown, 663300. And for the fill, we're going to choose light brown, which is CC6600. Okay, so this dark brown, light brown. Okay, and let's go over there. On the stage, let's draw a rectangle. Okay, so this is our rectangle here. And then we're going to use the selection tool. Okay, selection tool will be this one here. Make sure the selection tool is there. Select this rectangle. Okay, then we're going to go to the properties here. So I'm going to go to properties and going to change the width to 130, and we're going to change the height to 150. Oh, sorry. 130. Okay, so now we got the width and the height. So we accidentally left the lock icon there. So okay, now so we got it over here. Now after that, we're going to come and choose the oval tool. Okay, and you're going to hold and press and choose the oval tool. Okay, then make sure this, which is snap to objects, is enabled. Okay, now we're going to come here, and we're going to drag an oval here. And we're going to come here and drag one more over here. Okay, sure. So we got two ovals there. Okay, so now we're going to come and use the selection tool. So we're going to select this one. And then we're going to press the delete key. Come here, select the delete key, delete, oops. Select this one, delete, 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 and delete. So you get this. And we also delete this line as well. So now we get a cylinder. So now the next thing is got to do is got to use the free transform tool. So we got to come over here, choose the free transform tool. You see over here, this, which is the keyboard shortcut is Q. So we got to drag it all over here. And you can see there are transformation handles. Now what we've got to do is we're going to modify this. Now notice that if we do it this way, it will modify it uniformly over it. But what we're going to do is we just want to make this part over here. Okay, hold on. Okay, we got to make this part over here. Hold on, I'm going to take the height to be 150, so back to original height. Okay, we got to press the Shift and Command key. So what we got to do is press the Shift and Command key. So notice when I come over here, I press the Command key, it becomes the selection tool. And press the Shift key. Okay, I'm going to just zoom in a bit. Now this is what happens when I press the Command key. And when I press the Shift key, it comes out like this. So you can see that there's this dumbbell symbol there. Okay, so I'll zoom out a bit. So I press the Command, Shift, and then I get to move it, modify it symmetrically. And so now make it look more like a coffee cup here. Okay, so that's how you get do. We're gonna make the option here. Okay, after this we're going to use the copy and paste commands to duplicate shapes. Okay, so let's come over here and select the top curve. Oops. Hold on. Oh, so okay, press the Shift key as well. Shift key somehow. Okay, so now you got this one. So select all the lines for the top curve. Okay, and then come here, choose Edit, Copy. Then choose Edit, Paste in Center. So we got this here. So we got a duplicate oval. Now again, we got to go back here and use the free transform tool. Okay, now we got to press the Shift and alternate key or Option key and make it slightly smaller. Okay, now come back here, use the selection tool and move it roughly over here. Okay, we got to zoom in a bit. Okay, hold on. Okay, so I'll come in and zoom in over here. Okay. Okay, now we click outside to deselect. Now we got to select this part over here. Notice I'm going to select this part and press delete to delete this part here. So now we've got our coffee cup. Okay, now we got to change the shape of the contours of this line here to make it a little bit more, look more like a coffee cup. So notice I'm still using the selection tool, and I'm going to come over here. Now notice what happens here. Notice there's this curved line at the cursor here. So I'm going to come here and then just bend it out a little bit. And come over here. Bend it out just a little bit. So it looks more like a coffee cup. So there's a slight bulge there. So now it's a rounded body. Okay, now what we've got to do is we've got to change the stroke and fill. Now, the paint bucket is used to change the fill, and underneath there's this thing called the ink bottle tool, which is used to change the color of your strokes, which are the outlines of your drawings. So let's choose a paint bucket. Okay, and in the properties, we're going to choose a dark brown color over here. So let's choose a dark brown color, 663333. So this is our dark brown color. Okay, and so now we've got our paint bucket, and I'm going to click here. So that's what we get. Now, if your paint bucket covers the whole thing, the problem would be, the way to solve it would be to come over here and change the gap size in case the fill goes through to the upper lip. So you choose this one. Okay, just in case it covers. Okay, just in case it covers here. So change the close gap feature there. Okay. Now what you got to do is use the ink bottle tool. Okay, in the properties here, we can change it to a darker brown color, 330000. Okay, and then we got to go all the way here, and then we got to change the color of the outline here. So now notice over here, we've changed the outline of this line over here. Okay, next we got to learn how to use gradient transitions. Okay, so let's choose the selection tool. Okay, and then we got to select this fill over here. And we got to open the color panel. Okay, now if this gear comes in, just click yes, so they auto-save for you. I've got to choose window and color. To open up the color panel, or you can just click this icon over here. Okay, we're going to choose, come over here, make sure to choose this one, okay? So choose the fill color here. Okay, then we're going to choose linear gradient. Now notice the color, the front surface of the color is, the coffee cup is changed to a gradient fill. Now we've got to come right over here. Now notice these are the two pointers here. So these are the color pointers. Now when we select it, we can select the different colors. So I'm going to select this one over here. Going to choose the left one, and I'm going to change the color here, which is going to be FFCCC. Okay, so notice now it's this light pink color. And I'm going to choose the far right one, and I'm going to change this color as well, which will be B86241. So now you can see there's this gradient over here. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to come over here and notice that the cursor has become a plus sign. So what it does is it creates a new color pointer. So I'm going to move it somewhere in the middle, and I'm going to change the color to white. FF. So notice now there is a white color gradient in the middle as well. Okay, so now I'm going to deselect everything here. And I'm going to choose the paint bucket tool. Okay, make sure that this is deselected. Okay. Now what the lock fill option does, it locks the current gradient to the first shape to which it was applied so that subsequent shapes extend the gradient. What we want is actually a new gradient for the back surface of the coffee cup. So this must be deselected. Okay, now we have a paint bucket tool. We're going to select the back surface of the coffee cup here. Ta-da! So there's a gradient over here as well. The next thing we're going to do is learn how to use the gradient transform tool. Now, where is the gradient transform tool? It's actually hidden right behind here. So if we click on the free transform, it's over here right behind the gradient transform tool, right behind the free transform tool. Now we got to click. Okay, so now we got to click this one with the free transform, the gradient transform tool, and the transformation handles appear. So we're going to come over here and got to drag this one over here. So notice the gradient has moved here, and we're going to move the gradient a bit over here so that the gradient goes a little bit to the left. Now we're going to continue over here, and we're going to click the back one over here, and we're going to rotate it 180 degrees. So notice now there's a little more gradient. The gradient fades from dark brown to light tan on the right. Now this makes it look more real. And so we have a slightly better gradient here. So this is what we get here. Now what we got to do is we're going to add a bitmap fill for the coffee here. So we're going to add a layer of cream here. So we're going to come here and use the selection tool, select this fill here. We're going to come here and choose the color. Okay, so got to choose, come here and choose bitmap fill. So notice it opens my import library dialog box. So we got to choose here to lesson 2, start, and choose coffeecream.jpg and click open. And that's it. So it replaces the fill with a bitmap, JPEG. And there it is, your cup of coffee is complete. So let's just rename this drawing to coffee. Ta-da! Now after we finish creating our cup of coffee, we'll make it into a single group. So when you group something together, it allows us to manipulate things much more easier. So let's select the selection tool, make sure selection tool is selected. Select everything here, then make up a coffee, choose modify, group. And there it is. So notice that the coffee cup has one single bounding box. Okay. Now if we still want to edit it, we just double click it and it goes into the group and we can still edit it. Okay, so there you have it. So when you edit it, the icon here says group here. Okay, so now we go back to scene 1 by clicking scene 1 here, deselect everything. Now the next thing is got to do, we got to use the deco tool to make intricate patterns. Okay, so let's come over here. Before we got to use the deco tool, we got to come up over here, choose insert, new symbol, and we're going to come here and type line. Line. Make sure it's graphic, okay, not movie clip but graphic. And we got to click OK. Now notice now we are working inside the line symbol here. Okay, so it's symbol editing mode. You can't see the coffee cup anymore. So let's come over here, select the line tool. Okay, for the color, we're going to choose brown color. We're going to choose a brown color for the stroke. And for style, we're going to choose hairline. So hairline for the stroke style. And we're going to use minimum thin thickness, okay? We're going to choose, and the hairline stroke maintains a uniform thin thickness no matter how large or small I scale it. Okay, we got to come back here. So we got to draw a line. Now, we got to press the shift key when we draw the line. Okay, and so that it always creates a straight line. So we got to come over here and we got to draw a line about 25 pixels high. Now, how do you make sure that it's 25 pixels high? So what you can do is select the line here and come over here, choose the height, make sure it's 25 pixels. For coordinates, we got to put x0 And for the y, we got to put negative 12.5 so that it is going to be centered right in the center of our symbol here. So now we're done. Come back to scene 1. Now if we're going to look at our symbol, our library, so go Window, Library. Notice there is now a new symbol here called line in our library. Okay, so now in the timeline we got to insert a new layer. So come here. Okay, we got to come here and insert a new layer, and we're going to call it Coffee Aroma. Okay, so make sure this is selected. Okay, we've got to come here and choose the Deco tool. Okay, so Deco tool, the keyboard shortcut is U. And we go to Properties. Now in the Properties, we got to come here and choose Symmetry Brush. Okay, for Module, we got to click on Edit, and we got to choose Line. Click OK so that module is lined here. Okay, in the advanced options, we're going to choose Rotate Around. Make sure this rotate around. Now with these Deco tool options, you can create a repeating pattern of the line symbol that is symmetrical around a point. A green guide appears on the stage that shows the center point, the main axis, and the secondary axis that determines how frequently the symbol is repeated. So notice over here, there's this symbol here. Okay, so we're going to click on the stage to place the symbol. While keeping our mouse button depressed, we're going to drag it around the green guides until we get the pattern that we like. Okay, so notice we can get any pattern that we like, but we're going to do it something like this, roughly like this. Now we want to increase the number of patterns. We come over here, and we can actually decrease or increase the number of times the pattern is repeated. Okay, so there it is. So when we're done, we just click a selection tool, and we're done over here. So this is the resulting pattern. Now what we want to do next is going to create a center bubble for the radiating lines. Okay, so the bubble should be located exactly in the center. And we got to select the oval tool. Okay, and we got to come over here to select a brown color for the stroke. Okay, stroke, and make sure there's no fill. So come over here. Now which is no fill, we choose this one over here. So this line means there's no color at all. Okay, so make sure the coffee aroma layer is selected. Now we got to hold down the shift key. Now why do you hold down the shift key? If you don't press the shift key, it will be a free-form oval. So you press the shift key, it will be a perfect circle. Yeah, so we gotta get something like this. Okay, so that's it. That's your circle there. Gotta select the selection tool. Okay, make sure you lock the coffee layer. Okay, make sure you lock the coffee layer so that you cannot select the coffee at all. You can only select the coffee aroma elements here. Okay, so let's open up the Align panel. So we go to Window, and choose Align. So this is the Align panel here. So you can click on this one. This is the Align panel. So what you got to do is align, select this one, align this, and align it horizontal center. Actually, what you can do is just select both of these. Click on Align panel, horizontal center, vertical center, so you get it all like this. Okay. So now that we've got this aligned, we've got to make it into breaking it apart and group. We got to break apart this symbol and group them back together again. Okay, so let's use the selection tool. Select it. Choose Modify, Break Apart. Okay, break apart. And we got to choose modify, break apart one more time. So that what you get is that you've broken the image, the picture objects into its primitive into its basic parts. And now we got to choose select it all again and then modify group. So now you got it as one single group. So finally we got to move these symbols right over our coffee cup here. So let's just come here. I'm going to move this one over here. Okay, and come back here, lock back this one, and we got put this one here, and we got use the free transform tool. Come here. Okay, and you can actually copy and paste another one. Now a quick shortcut to copy and paste is just press the Option key and drag. And that's how you do it. And I'm going to just make some smaller, maybe this one over here, this one over here. Make this one slightly smaller, who knows. Okay. Okay, so there you got your bubbles. Okay. Next thing we got to do is that we're going to explore the Deco Tools decorated brush, which creates decorated borders and complex line patterns. So again, we got to use the Deco tool again. And over here, instead of using the symmetry brush just now, we got to choose the decorated brush. In the advanced options, we got to choose dash line. And for pattern color, we got to choose a dark brown color. I'm not sure, maybe this color would be nice. Okay. Okay, we got to leave the pattern size, pattern width at the default values. Okay, so now we got to come back here. Let's just zoom in a little bit so you can see everything. So let's just draw some curvy lines. So let's just draw some curvy lines here. It automatically create dashes for you. Okay, so that's it. So this gives our coffee cup a little bit more life. Next, we got to use the flower brush tool. So let's just zoom out a bit. And again, let's come back to the Deco tool and make sure everything is deselected. Okay, so we got to choose the flower brush tool. So over here is flower brush tool. And we got to choose garden flower, make sure it's garden flower. Select the branch option. Make sure you choose the branch option. And we got to leave the flowers and the colors at the default values. Okay. So let's come over here. Okay, so now all we do is just draw our, okay, hold on. Okay, so we got to just draw our flowers over here. Okay, and that's it. So it creates our pattern automatically for us as we move our mouse across. Okay, so now let's use our tools here, and we got select everything here. Choose modify and group them all. So now we've got our flowers here. So you can move them as a single unit rather than as many flowers. Next, we got to create some curves. So let's come over here. Let's go to Insert, Timeline, New Layer. And we got to call this dark brown wave. Okay, let's lock all the other layers. And we're going to move this all the way to the bottom. Now in our tools panel, we're going to come over here and we're going to choose the pen tool. Okay, and we're going to set the stroke color to dark brown again. Okay. Yep. Okay, so let's begin our shape by establishing the first anchor point, and we got just drag over. Now notice I can make a curve by clicking and dragging. So now if I want to have a corner point, I just click one time. And to join it back, notice when I move my mouse over, there's a circle at my pen. So I click this one and that's it. That is my shape that I've drawn. Okay, so now we've drawn our shape. So what we've got to do now is choose the paint bucket tool. And we've got to just change the color to dark brown as well. And we've just got to fill it in. And so that's how we got to get our pattern there. Okay, and then after that, okay, so that's it. That's how we do it. Okay. Now, if we don't like our curves or we want to modify, we can choose the selection tool. Okay, and we can actually modify the curves. Notice I can actually modify the curve just using our selection tool. We can also use the sub-selection tool. Now, the sub-selection tool is this white cursor here. This is called the sub-selection tool. Now, if I click on the outline, I can actually move it around in a bit. Notice I can actually move my curves around. Okay, so that's how we can modify the outline of our curves. Now, what else can we do? We can actually come over to the pen tool. Now, notice when you come to the pen tool, you can actually add and delete anchor points. So, for example, I can come here and delete anchor points. So, if I don't want this point, I just can come here. So, notice there's a minus sign. I can actually delete curves. Or if I want to add more points, I can come over here, choose the add anchor point. And I can come here, and there's actually another anchor there. Done, show all. Okay, so there you have it. Okay, we lost our fill just now, so let's just fill it back. Okay, so there we have it. Okay, so now we have one layer here, but we want to create a second wave to overlap the first wave. So let's just use the selection tool, select this. Okay. We got select, can we select the, okay, hold on. Okay, we got to select the shape in the dark brown wave layer. So what I'm going to do is select. Okay. Choose edit, and we got copy. Choose insert timeline layer. And we're going to call it light brown wave. And we're going to lock this one, and we're going to choose edit Paste in place. Okay, so paste in place, paste what we copied exactly in the same shape that it was from where it was copied. So I'm going to choose the selection tool and move it slightly to the left or to the right so it creates this little wave pattern here. Okay, so now we're going to change the color here. Go to the color panel. Okay, we're going to change the fill to a different color. cs6. So it's a slightly different color. And we're going to change the alpha value to about 50%. 50%. So that's how you get it. So that's how we changed alpha values, which is basically the same word. It's another word for transparency. Now, another tool that you can need to know is the eyedropper tool. So if you go over here, there is this thing called the eyedropper tool. So you can choose this. Okay. So if you want to do that, you can choose this color over here. And notice my tool automatically becomes a paint bucket with a sample fill color. And we got to click on the shape in our fill layer here. So notice you can change, it can do that. So you can actually copy a color to another shape. Okay, so let's just undo this one. So we've got to keep this pattern for now. Finally, we got almost at the end of our tutorial here. So we got to learn how to create and edit text. So let's come over here, select the top layer, choose Insert Timeline Layer, double click it, call it Text. Okay, we're going to come here and choose the Text tool, which is this icon over here, Text tool. So in the properties, make sure over here it's classic text. And make sure you choose static text. Okay, you can choose whatever family of color that font that you like, if whichever you fancy. So for example, you could choose Gill Sans, I don't know. Okay, any font that you like. And you can choose a different color for your font. Maybe you want to change it to blue. Who knows? Okay, and we got just click here, and we are going to type here, Garden Court Cafe. Taste the difference. Okay. Now notice my text is a little bit too big, so I can come here and I can change the size by just coming here and just choosing by brushing the size over here. Okay, so if I want it to be okay, so maybe that's just nice. Okay, and then we're done. So now we can actually move it to wherever we want it to be. And then that's it. And we're done. Now, if we can't see the text, we can always add a few special effects. For example, this is an extra. It's not in the classroom book. You can actually add things like a glow or drop shadow so that it's easier to see the outline of our text here. And thank you. And that ends our tutorial on Lesson 2, Flash CS5 Classroom Book.